Well, welcome to the Weirdo and Beardo show. This is episode number 7, brought to you by Ryan Bender, Funny Man. And there we go.
All right. We're on number 7. I'm pumped. You know what I watched? Speaking of Heisman's, though, for real, I watched the Netflix special. It's called Untold. They have a series of them on Johnny Manziel.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of winning the Heisman.
I've been seeing more stuff about old Johnny football, and that makes sense why I was seeing that on social media.
Check it out. It's definitely worth watching. That dude was a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Like, they talk about what he was doing at Oklahoma State when he got to the NFL, and he just quickly...
laundering money through his grandpa.
Oh, dude, yeah. Signing shit for 30
shit.
grand and just started partying, doing coke everywhere, just hanging out with stars. Like, he lost his damn mind.
Good for him.
And couldn't handle it. But it was entertaining. I'd definitely recommend it. I'm looking forward to the one on the Florida Gators National Championships with Urban, because there was some weird shit going on then too. But it's pretty entertaining, dude. It's like an hour and a half, and it's good.
Yeah?
I would recommend it.
All right.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Yeah, did you watch that quarterbacks one on Netflix?
No, not yet.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's good, but it's not like, I don't know.
Yeah. I got you.
Like, it was fun for the kids because then my son could see,
Yeah.
a lot of the shit that these guys go through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a show of debauchery, which it sounds like this Johnny football thing is.
Oh, it was. Like, he just admits that he was out of his fucking mind. And they just keep telling all these stories.
He
and
dressed up to go to Vegas.
Dude, he was, and he couldn't even get back in time for the game. He just said, fuck it, and just partied all night. Once he knew he wasn't going to make it in time, he just raged.
I mean, what are you going to do at that point?
And they just talk about, like, the dude had, he was just like a 20-year-old kid just starting college, had $100,000 cash under his mattress, and was just bashing. And his best friend's part of it. And then, like, it's pretty crazy. He was going hard.
That's cool.
Hard.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
That's funny.
So what did you think of the roast? Kind of a different format.
Yeah, definitely a different format. I thought you did fantastic, which we've discussed.
Let me back up. So producer and promoter here in the Valley, Tony Visick, we had a roast, and I think this might be the second one that he's done. But a bunch of comedians actually went to the Tempe Center for the Arts. Probably could have pulled something up here, but whatever. And we got to roast this guy, and it was a ton of fun, and Jimmy was there.
Yeah. I showed up in rare form, and it was a good time.
It was a good time.
So one thing you did that's very different from, and maybe it's not different. Maybe I just don't know. But you started out with a little bit of your own material.
Yeah.
For, what was it, about 30 seconds?
Like a minute.
Just to get some laughs going.
Yep.
Right? And then you led right into your jokes and right into laying into things. The only thing that you didn't do was you didn't make jokes about everyone on the stage so much. You more have just made it about Tony, which was fine.
Well, the reason
yours
for
were
that
still
is
funny.
I didn't know I was supposed to.
Nor did you know any of the other guys.
I don't know those guys. Most of those guys are in Tony's class and doing those things, and they've got, they've been friends and have had a click for a little while. I'm like the outsider, you know what I mean?
See.
But Tony invites me to these things, into the shows, into the contests and stuff, even though I'm not in the group, so it was cool.
Yeah.
But no one told me that I was supposed to roast everybody. And maybe I should have known, because if you watch those Comedy Central roasts that I love, they roast everyone.
I mean, that's where I got that from. So
you roast
I was roasted once.
Yeah,
so.
yes, right. But they do, you roast everybody a little, and then you really hit the headliner guy, right?
Right.
And so since I didn't know I was supposed to do that, and I don't really know those guys to really write content for them anyways, I just went after Tony.
And you did a good job.
Yeah. We carved him up.
Your stuff was funny. So
yeah, it was good stuff. Yeah, we'll get that. Tony actually recorded it, so we'll get a video up later in the week on the YouTube channel.
On the old YouTubers?
On the old YouTubers.
All right. No, I thought it was good. I'm trying to think of some of your jokes. No offense, but
no, it's fine.
The stuff about him leeching off of young talent and stuff like that, I was great.
Yeah. Even though none of them were there. That's what I really kicked him in the nuts. I turned around. I was like, leeching off of young talent. I was like, but none of them are here.
But none of them are here. Yeah.
But I called him old. I said that he was, he started off in King Arthur's
Which was
court.
kind of ironic.
Chiseling. I know,
you
right?
making fun of someone for being old.
Well, and that's what some guys were saying after the show. They're like, everyone's been ripping on you for being old. You probably had a lot of jokes lined up. I'm like, yeah, actually, you guys have been carving me with that shit for a while, so I got to turn around on somebody older than me.
Yeah.
There is somebody, this dude and Moses.
Yeah.
Older than me. That's it.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like, just to have a different format. I think if nothing else, like, it gives you structure and a theme to your jokes. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to go after somebody. You don't have to be uber creative. You just have to come up with some stuff that's going to grind on these people,
I like to think of Moses as being a tough old guy, though. Like Charlton Heston. That's my Moses.
Yeah.
Like in Ten Commandments.
Let my people
Yeah,
go.
that's
Yeah,
right.
he's awesome.
Yeah, my dad had a statue of Moses growing up. That it was like a bust of him holding the commandments and stuff. And that guy looked all feeble and old and more like Merlin from King Arthur as opposed to King Arthur, right? And
That's funny.
And
No, Charlton Heston was the man.
Yeah,
Like, he did him the
yeah,
best. Plus,
yeah.
he's a big dude. Like, there's no way
right.
Moses was 6'5".
No, just kicking asses.
Yeah, just kicking asses, just beating people.
Pulling 45s on people.
Fucking people up. I don't need the park to see. I'll stand here and fight. Let's go.
But yeah. Anyways, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah,
as far as who my Moses is.
Yeah, we just like to rabbit hole it whenever.
I like my Jesus with a tuxedo shirt.
Teenage Jesus. Because he's got a mullet. Like, I'm serious, but I like to party.
So stupid. But yeah, I thought the show went well.
That was good.
So what do you have coming up next? Next, you got the contest again?
Yep.
The
22nd.
second round?
Yep. A week from tomorrow. So one of the we're down to the semifinals now. So there's 2 nights. One of them is tomorrow night at Cactus Jack's. And then my set.
Oh, you do have one tomorrow night.
I don't, but there's a semifinal round.
I was going to say, fuck, I didn't know.
No, there's a semifinal round tomorrow on the 15th. I go on the 22nd. And then the following Tuesday, the 29th, if I make it through, will be the final 10 people.
Right.
So we're down to 20 out of 130.
Yeah. That'll be good.
Yeah, we're still standing. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Yeah.
If nothing else,
Yeah,
right?
it's a good time.
I mean, you're having fun with it and working content out. Like you talked about before, these contests are good if nothing else, just to get some of the marbles out of your mouth and force you to write some new jokes.
It
right?
makes I would like to do a whole new set. People have challenged me like, well, why don't you always do new sets? I'm like, yeah, fuck, you wish you could write that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I wish it was my only job. You know what I mean? Like, if I could put that much more time into it, that would be awesome. But
Yeah.
I would really like to be able to, if I can't do it for my set on the 22nd, I want to do it on the 29th and do some new stuff.
Yeah.
Like DJ Payne, that's been around, and he's really funny. I think he's a really, really good comic, actually. He was the guy who was the roast master.
Yeah. No, and I thought he did good.
He always does.
Yeah. I thought he did fine.
He's consistently funny. But he was talking about it like, he's like, people feel like they got to do new material and all that. He's like, look, man, if it works, he's like, don't worry about the judges. We're not going to remember what the hell you did last time anyway. So if it works, do it again. Well, so I'm always torn between doing stuff works and doing new shit.
Well, and that's an interesting, I think that's an interesting thing just for people getting started in comedy too, is, if you remember correctly, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I was trying to do new material pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I think I did my first one twice, and then I was trying to just
do something.
skate on, and I did new material like three times in a row, and I think it was you that was like, hey, maybe try to tighten up some of these before just scrapping the whole thing.
Yeah.
And moving on. But
yeah, I think there's a sweet spot to doing new stuff and then rewriting and reiterating and getting it to a spot that's good. And then I think once you feel good about that, then I think you feel good about parking it for a rainy day.
Right.
And then working on some new stuff. But I think you can't constantly go new stuff because you never get it tight enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't never do new stuff because you get bored doing the same stuff.
That too.
So there's a sweet spot somewhere between there.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I think new stuff is more fun in my opinion.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
there's more energy around it, I think.
Yeah. Well, for you. Not always for the crowd.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, for me, I'm more gassed getting ready to go up there, and it's more intense.
It's still funnier to you at that point.
Yeah,
right.
it's new,
but yeah, you got to remember, no matter what, it's in most cases their first time hearing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So I do think there's a sweet spot to getting stuff done and then kind of putting it aside and saying, hey, if I have the time to do 15 or 20 minutes, I know that I've got stuff that works.
Yeah.
Then you start working on new shit all the time.
Like you did last time.
Yep.
When you fucking killed it.
Yeah. So I think that's the sweet spot. It's like anything else. You just have to be consistent and put in work.
Right.
And I'm trying to make myself every single day write a little bit. Even if I'm just rewriting something old or I'm just writing down a new premise, make progress in some area every day.
Yeah.
Which is hard, but it's
hard.
It's what you have to do. It is hard. And then I think the biggest thing is just having consistent shows that you're doing, whether it's just regular open mic stuff or some of the extra things that I'm getting to do. Mm-hmm. But in the last couple of weeks, I've had more shows to do than ever before.
Right.
And so there's something about staying sharp because you have a lot to do and you're getting on the stage again. And I'm starting to feel more comfortable every time I go because I've had 4 or 5 shows in 3 weeks or whatever it was.
So speaking of new jokes, okay. So I was thinking about it, and it made me think about it because I posted that one video today, which was of our podcast when I was talking about the Lyft driver, right?
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. So he said this is going to be a long one, meaning the ride. And I said that's what she said, and he turned to me and said, "Who said this to you?"
To you.
To you. What do you mean to you, motherfucker? Is what I want.
It would be if you could do a good accent the way that he did it. I'm sure that adds something to it.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
What I mean? For
sure.
Yeah. But I like the fact that he just turned all the way around while driving.
Yeah. But anyways, I was thinking I could use that joke, and then go into it's just something I say, and then so speaking of little dicks, and then go into I was in the bathroom earlier. Like that's a good transition.
That is a good transition. If you build the joke in of like, I don't know what kind of assumption he's trying to make about the 5'8" white guy. You know what I mean? But I'm just read between the lines. You know what I mean? Because that is pretty funny. He turns around and got aggressive with it. You know, who said this?
He was dead serious.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good little story.
It's a good story.
You know.
Yeah. I got to come up with. That's the one thing I haven't really done. In a stand-up set yet is tell a story. I've made up stories and I've embellished some stories for humor.
Well, most of my stories have been made up.
Yeah, but I've got a couple of stories. I've got a couple. Well, the one about the golf club thing, even though you made it yours, is still a real story.
It is just not my story.
Yeah, but that's okay.
You know.
But like I've got some stories that I think I could tell. I just got to figure out how to make them really funny and add some punch to it. But
yeah.
Good comedians are good storytellers, it seems, you know?
That's what's funny is I'm sure you've heard the story of like Bert telling the machine story, right? He was on Joe's podcast.
Joe's
like, you have to, you know, and push it out there. And so people started cheering. And his whole thing was, and rightfully so, was like, it's too long for a stand-up
That's a long story.
It's a long story, right? I mean, the good thing for him is that he knows he's got that much time baked into every show.
It's like 30 minutes. Yeah. It's like 30 minutes. I mean, he even had a special called The Machine, like, because that's going to be the majority of the set.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But yeah, that's it. It is. And that was my thing with the whole necrophilia set is a lot of it was stories, right? Because I like story comedians, right? Which is funny because I like guys like Jesselnick or
Bert.
like a good storyteller, you know, which are two very different styles, obviously. But I like story comedians, and my first set was almost all stories, and that was part of the problem. Part of the issue with it was I didn't have enough jokes per sentence of the story, right?
Yep. Yeah. I feel like if you're telling a story, there probably aren't enough things baked into it that are funny without you writing stuff into it.
Yeah,
so you
100%.
got to balance it out.
100%.
And I think that's the problem. Like if you've got a 5 to 7 minute set, you can't tell a 5 or 7 minute story.
No.
You know what I mean? But if you're doing a set like these guys do, where it's 45 minutes or something, then who cares if you tell a 10, 15 minute story?
No problem.
Then it's awesome.
You know,
less to memorize. You just tell a story.
Well, that's even like Jesselnick, the king of the one-liners, right?
Yep.
He's got the one on one of his comedy specials where at the end he goes even to tell a 15-minute story about taking someone to get an abortion. I can tell you from experience, taking a good friend, close friend to get an abortion is boring.
He's so insane. I like his like just slow pace on the stage, like a fucking line as he just says dark one-liner after dark one-liner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't get away with that sort of thing.
But he gets a grip of laughs. But I mean, it's like, he's got a definite formula. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to see that
he does.
There's a style of comedian that I like, and there's not the ones that I like don't necessarily have a formula. Like, there's two guys that I absolutely love. One is Dan Soder. And I've gone to see him live, and I'm going to go see him again. He's actually coming to Phoenix stand up live like in November, and I'll go again because he's one of my favorites. But he's just kind of, he tells stories, but it's just different. Like, you can't kind of categorize him the way you can Jeselnik.
Right.
And then there's another guy, Rory Scovel, that I absolutely love, and he's just out there too. They're just, you can't put him in a box, which I think I like around comedians. Which is why I don't like Jeselnik as much. It seems very
Jeselnik's he's one dimensional in that he's very like his jokes.
But he's also the best at it.
He is the best at what he does. His jokes are a statement or something, a twist that's really dark, and then maybe another twist or another
just when you don't see it coming.
Insensitive comment about
100%.
it.
Yep.
And that is his recipe for success, and he does it better than anyone I've ever seen.
He's got a good delivery and a good style, and it's just I'm with you.
Yeah, I remember I tried to slow down some of mine to make it more, and I was like, no, mine don't punch like that.
It all starts with good jokes. You can do a lot with good jokes. At the end of the day,
starts with
like however you want to say it, whatever your style is, you want to tell stories, you want to have one-liners. All things are possible if the fucking material is good.
Yeah.
If it's not, I don't give a fuck who you are. It's not
right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a lot of stuff that he says that might not get the same reaction if you didn't know him or who he is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas it's different when you do. Did you want another? Or?
No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you, though. So I really enjoyed the roasting just to do something different. I mean, I think that was really, really fun. I would do it again. Now that I know what the format of it all is, like if I got invited to do it again, I'm going to crush everybody on that day as next time. You know what I mean? I will wait. I will take my time to write jokes about everybody.
Yeah.
And, but it was fun. I think that I'm glad I wrote so many jokes just roasting Tony because I feel like everyone else did very few. They did so many on their friends that were there and didn't do enough on Tony. So I was kind of glad that I just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, well, they all look up to him.
That's the thing.
Right?
And they're in his class.
Teacher and
they didn't really
like
carve
that,
him hard.
You know
what I mean? I went after him harder than anybody,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the other Ryan went after him.
Yeah, he kind of did too. Ryan and Ryan went after him.
You just had more jokes about him because that was the only person you were making fun of.
Yeah. Yeah, I had 7 minutes of carving Tony.
Yeah. Everyone else had time with everyone else and then a minute or two on Tony, so.
Yeah, I do like that venue though. The Tempe Center for Arts, that room is good.
Yeah, I could see that being good.
If we'd have had a bigger crowd, it'd have been
and a waitress.
Better. And a server would be nice because that bar is far.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get beverages back there.
No, yeah. And that's not just my rule. I feel like that's everyone's rule.
Yeah, 100%.
You had a comedy show. Fuck.
Yeah, you need a server. I'm sure they do at the big auditorium, but not in that little side room.
Yeah, I was surprised because I was getting there like 2 minutes before it was supposed to start originally, and these guys are all still out at the bar at the table.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Do we gotta get?" No, we're good to push it a little bit. Okay, and then Ben was getting a drink on the way in, and I go, "Well, there's a server in there, right?" He goes, no. Oh, well then, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stack them up.
Grab a couple. Yeah, I was watching all the comedians are coming out like two-fisting it, bringing a bunch of drinks, setting them under the chair. I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to do that here.
Yeah.
They know the deal.
Yeah.
Because Tony does the class clown show that he does. He does at that same room.
Oh, okay.
So he's got something going on with those guys.
He has to, right?
Yeah.
With the venue.
Yeah.
I wonder what that room costs him to do for the night. I mean,
yeah, I wonder.
I mean, they do the tickets. He can't have made any money on the ticket sales.
No, I think because they were supposed to have a surprise guest or whatever that was going to like come in through Zoom and just on that big screen. And I think just getting that screen, everything set up was $500. And I bet you he barely made that in tickets.
Well, no, yeah, that's what I mean is I know that shit's not cheap.
No, not there.
A venue of any kind.
Yeah.
Just setting up banquet shit, right?
Yeah.
It's expensive. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. I did another. You didn't come to the one. That's the second time I've performed there. I did another thing. It wasn't a roast. It was just a regular stand-up show that they were doing.
Oh, you're actually moving on to the third round of the. I was out of town for your other one, right? Yeah, I was in Mexico.
Yeah, this is the third round. Yeah, they had 10 rounds initially of comedians, like a full night every night of 10 nights.
I do have to show you this though.
Like 120, 130 guys. Sorry.
You're gonna appreciate. I brought up Mexico, so I have to show you this.
You love Mexico.
Don't I? Yes.
Tough not to like Mexico.
It was funny. So it was one morning. Mario was like, "Hey, so what time did you get back to the condo last night?" And I was like, I really don't know. I think right around midnight, but I don't know. And then I looked at my phone, and I guess I strategically took pictures throughout my coming home. Right. So this was they're all time stamped. So 11:18. And then, 12:06, a couple of those. Looking at the elevator, 12:08. It's one floor higher, 12:09.
You're just getting all kinds of...
Why? I don't know. 12:11, just me wandering around in front of the condo that we stayed in. So I thought that was humorous.
That is funny. Well, you were close on the time then.
Yeah. No, it was dead on, really, yeah. Shit, I could have stayed out longer.
Yeah. You weren't even at curfew yet.
Oh.
I could see Mario being like, be home by midnight, mister.
Well, yeah, and then I was supposed to be meeting up with some people who work for us, and then they backed out, or one of them backed out, and that was the other one's ride. And so, yeah, I was downtown by myself, and he's like, "Well, how did you get back?" I was like, I took a taxi,
Do you take actual taxis in Mexico, or is there Uber and everything down there?
No, it's like a Ford Escort with taxi painted on the side.
Yeah.
But,
An El Camino. Everybody just gets in the back. That's funny as shit.
But it was a lot of fun. So, yeah. And then, Mexico's always fun. Let's be honest.
I got to get down to Rocky Point with you guys one of these times.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah. So, pretty pumped about preseason football starting. And that wasn't a real smooth transition, but
That's right. Just right turn, Clyde.
Yeah.
Boom, right into it.
We're talking about what I want to talk about.
Yeah,
so.
I'm pumped for football season in general.
Yeah.
I don't really like preseason games. You don't see starters. It's just guys fighting for the roster spots.
No,
but it is football.
But it was kind of fun watching. I mean, because I didn't get to see the Cardinals game against Denver, but I did get to watch a lot of the highlights, which was it's like the two biggest shit shows of teams, right? Competing for who sucks more.
Yeah.
So that was fun for me with my own team.
But it's going to be a weird year for the Cardinals because everyone wants them to just shit the bed so they can get a good draft pick. Like nobody wants the Cardinals to go 9-8.
But their defense looked solid.
Yeah. Well,
against Denver.
Everyone's going against scrubs, so it's all.
No, Denver had their
Did they put
first
their
string
starters?
O-line in.
Okay.
And we got to Russell like a dozen times.
Oh, nice.
So
Russell's a little over the hill now too.
Yeah. Well, what kind of fucking horrible like slave driving team puts in their 40-year-old quarterback in the preseason?
Yeah. Who's
like, what the fuck is
Are
that?
you trying to get the guy hurt?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's just kill him.
Yeah, I used to be into
preseason. You got a life insurance policy on him?
I used to be into the preseason. Now I don't give a shit, but I'm looking forward to the season starting.
No, I don't care either. But it was our second string D-line.
Yeah.
Just mowing down their first string
Fighting
O-line.
for jobs.
Yeah.
Fighting for jobs.
And so, yeah, and we still won in the last minute with a 2-point conversion by 1 point. So
nice.
Like
I'm always amazed by people that bet on the preseason. I'm like, dude, what are you basing any of that on?
Yeah.
You don't know who's playing. They're not going to play starters. How do you even
right.
come up with a fucking line?
I mean, you look at back when like Brady was on the Patriots, right? They would lose all their preseason games and then just start dominating in the season.
Nothing.
It's like because they're not trying.
No.
They're not showing anything.
No. Like people who are betting on preseason, I'm just like, okay, you have a problem.
Yeah, seriously.
Go bet on baseball. It's going on. At least the games are real.
Something.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, it's either way, though, it's good to see football on TV.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You know, that's my thing.
It's only a couple of weeks till college football starts, which I'm super pumped about.
Yeah.
And then the next week will be the pros.
What do you think the Buckeyes are going to go undefeated this season?
Yes, I do.
I mean, you have to think that.
Yeah,
Being
as a Buckeye fan, you kind of feel like every year they can't lose any games, right? That's the nature of the beast. But
yeah.
playing in Michigan will be tough, and after losing two years in a row, I think it'll be rough. I don't think the Bucs will lose more than one game. I think they'll make the playoffs again.
Yeah,
and I have zero doubt that the Bucs could win it all.
Okay,
it's going to come down to quarterback play because we've got to break in somebody after losing Stroud.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But other than that, all the skill position guys are back. And the reason that all the Cardinals fans want the Cardinals to shit the bed so much is they want to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Bucs.
Right.
Who's going to be? I think he's going to light the league up.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of hope he comes here. Like I want to be able to see the dude play. So fuck, I hope they do draft him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. So are all the teams from the Pac? They're all going to whatever division they got to this year, or is it the following?
Next year, USC, UCLA. Washington and Oregon all join the Big Ten in the schedule.
Yeah.
Not this year. Next year.
Okay. Yeah. And then the others are going.
And some of them are going.
And then some of the other ones are going to the Big 12.
Some of them are going to the Big 12. A bunch of them are going to the Big. Yeah, the Pac-12 is over.
Yeah.
That conference is done. I don't know. Washington State.
It's so
and
weird
Oregon
how
State
these things happen.
Dude, Washington State, Oregon State have to find a home. Stanford and Cal have to find a home.
Well, did Colorado end up going to the Big 12?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, how they got in and not WSU or Oregon State. I mean, those are both better than Colorado.
Well, I think Colorado brings more fans, the Denver market.
They must.
It's the Denver TV market.
I mean, it's all about money now.
Oh. Well, and you're getting Denver with Colorado. You're getting nothing with Washington State and Oregon State.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the problem.
Yeah, Eastern Washington, Eastern Oregon.
Oregon and Washington, they got TV markets.
Yeah, well,
you're just not. Yeah.
Western parts of the state, I don't know if you ever been to either of those states as far as like.
No.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, it is literally like there's a mountain range and the states are very divided,
right?
One way or another as far as like everything, like how they vote politically, who they cheer for, who they, so
yeah.
It is two different worlds, but there is like 25 times as many people on the western sides of those states as there are on the eastern,
where it's pretty.
Yeah,
where the ocean is and it's pretty.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's going to be weird having those guys. I mean, and now the Big Ten's going after Florida State and Clemson.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think but today was supposed to be the day they made a decision on that. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
The one thing I don't like about this system, how they're doing it now, is it's less geographic. That's one thing I did like about like the Pac and the Mountain when that was a thing, right? And these things. Is like it was very much more geographic, right? So like even if I'm an ASU fan and I want, I always want ASU to beat U of A, right? Well, I still might have family right up here in Utah, and I might root for, it's fun to root, or in California. Right? A lot of people here have family in Southern California, right? Rooting for them against USC is still a lot of fun because there's a lot of people from California here, and people, and vice versa.
The regional thing was fun.
Yeah.
And it's gone. It's gone.
It's completely gone. And so that is the one thing that like, feel like we lost.
Yep.
I don't know. And also this fucking super conferences and stuff. It's like,
it's the way. What's going to happen is it's going to be like the NFL. You're going to have two separate conferences, one in the north with the Big Ten and whoever teams they continue to cannibalize. You know what I mean? And then the SEC and everybody they continue to cannibalize, and you're going to have like these 32 team conferences.
Yep.
And then the champ will play the champ, and they're in the college Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's going to work just like the NFL.
Right.
They're all getting paid like NFL guys now, anyways. You might as well.
Yeah, there's just way more teams.
Yeah.
Way more teams.
Right.
I mean, even in the D1 category, there's way more teams. There's a lot of teams that are still in a nobody conference.
Oh yeah.
Right. Boise State.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. It's that are. I mean, WSU's had good years before. There are teams that aren't going to make it into a big conference.
I don't know where those guys. I think they might end up in like the Mountain West and just play.
I guess I don't know. Like,
nobody wants them.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of shitty that I don't know.
No, it's weird. I'm a traditional guy. I liked the regional conferences. I liked when there weren't 500 bowl games that everybody plays in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There used to be 8-10 bowl games. They mattered. You had to be good to get to one. Now it's like you can have a 500 record and make a bowl game. It's like, what the fuck? There doesn't need to be 30 goddamn bowl games.
Probably making a bowl game. I mean,
probably. When half the teams make it.
When BYU went independent, they had a contract with, I don't remember who it was. It was some bullshit bowl, right? If they had a 500 or over season, they had first right of refusal at that specific bowl.
Probably the Holiday Bowl.
I think it was. Yeah.
They played in a bunch of those.
Yeah. Well, that's when they won the national championship, was in a Holiday Bowl.
Yep.
That was, again, when certain bowls mattered.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to be good, and they were all on New Year's Day, and that's my birthday. That was like my favorite day to lay around and watch bowl games all day. Well, and now they start fucking mid-December because there's 1,000.
What's funny about that is Washington won the national championship the same year as BYU that year. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, back then you couldn't really claim it because you didn't play each other.
That's right.
So everybody just said, well, we're undefeated. Well, we're undefeated.
They both considered it or national championships, right? But, I mean, it wasn't truly. Which, so, to that respect, I get why they do what they do.
Yeah.
It also seems like they could just extend out the playoffs a little bit.
Which they do next year.
You know?
Next year goes to 12 teams.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's everything's getting weird, man. I don't know. I'm glad that I'm a Buckeye fan. They're always going to be good. Like they'll be in the heart.
They're consistently
they'll be in the heart.
good.
They'll be in the heart of all of it. But it's gotten the shit. I don't even recognize the fucking college football anymore.
Right.
I really don't.
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing about these recruits getting $3-4 million deals to go to college. You know what I mean? They're making more than the NFL rookie, league minimum now in the pros.
Right.
Like it's crazy.
Well,
games changed.
Yeah, it has.
It is what it is.
Though I'm okay with college kids getting compensated for playing too, because I mean it's a sport that could destroy you any year.
Yeah,
and you go college, how many all-stars go to college, right? And then take an injury, take whatever, and they just don't make it.
Right.
No,
these guys are getting some life-changing money no matter what. Yeah.
I'm not saying they should be getting millions, right? But to get $100,000 for destroying your body for the rest of your life, it's not,
100%.
It's like getting in a car accident.
No, I agree. These guys, and some of them chase money, some of them chase the NFL dream, but they're all getting paid.
Yeah.
Is it weird that it bothers me that you look taller than me in our logo here? Look at the size of your head. Like you look like you're a fucking 6'8" defensive end.
Yeah. Well, I might be. People seeing me on video don't know.
And I feel like they were kinder to me with my beard having a little less gray. They made it look like I just had a little.
Well, I have almost none.
No, and it almost looks like you
logo,
do. And you're,
so, and I have plenty in real life.
Yeah. So I wish I was as handsome as my logo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life goals.
Yeah. Gives us something to shoot for. Yeah. If I got them to switch it, if I got my guy to switch it, he'd probably just swap heads. So
your head looks enormous. In this
also,
thing.
I feel like you look tanner than me.
Which is never the
Which
case.
is rarely, if ever, been the case.
I'm pasty as fuck.
Yeah. But, we got Fiverr's best on that thing. So, you take what you can get.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a loud chair.
There's a loud chair.
There we go. So have you seen the chairs that Rogan does in his podcast?
Mm-mm.
So I guess they're $1,000 a piece for a chair, for a stool.
Damn.
Right? But
Rogan can afford it.
Yeah, definitely.
Spotify paid for that.
It's supposed to just line your body up perfectly so that you can sit for 3 hours and
makes
not
sense.
get tired.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's smart. He does have long ass podcasts. Why not have the best? The dude's killing it. So I want to go. Speaking of that, I want to go to the mothership down in Austin.
Yes.
I just saw an ad and it was Joe Rogan and friends, and I don't know who all was included in that.
We should try to plan a trip.
And we scheduled it around trying to get on that Kill Tony show.
Oh.
Where you do 1 minute. Have you seen that show?
I've heard about it.
Okay.
From you for sure.
Do you know who Tony Hinchcliffe is?
I think yeah.
Dude, he's an amazing comedian. But he does this thing in Rogan's mothership where he'll be there. There'll be another judge that's a buddy of his, and then some other guest comedian.
No, it sounds fun.
And you go and do 1 minute. And then they either say good job or they fucking carve you. Most people just get.
I think you could pull it off.
I want to try.
You do the first minute like you did at fucking Mic Drop.
Yeah, I want to try.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, you know what's funny? So someone on Facebook posted. You know the guy? You know JP that owns JP's, the place in Gilbert who always did the contest last year.
No.
Anyway, that dude was on Kill Tony. I didn't know it, and the dude put a link on there.
Did he get his ass whooped? Or
He got
did he
well. No,
do well?
they beat the hell out of him.
Okay.
Tony beat him up, and Dane Cook was a guest judge, and they just fucking carved him. He used to be a cop, so they started beating him up right off the bat.
Sure.
But it's like you get 1 minute to try to impress these guys, and
Yeah.
you got to figure like if they like you, your career just catapults. You know what I mean? Like because these guys are killers, dude.
Well, I think you could do it. I mean,
think it'd be
I really
fun.
do. I think you've got a tight minute, right?
Yeah.
Loose beehole tight minute.
Yeah, right. I wonder what I would do if I had just 1 minute. God, talk about some fucking pressure.
Jesus Christ.
1 minute.
Yeah. But I mean, you go through your suppository thing and your, all that shit. Like that's pretty funny. I don't know.
Dude, I thought
like you'd have to nail each.
you got to
joke.
nail it, dude. I thought one of the funny things they made fun of me of during the roast was like he does too. What JD goes, you do so many dick jokes, you're starting to look like one. I'm like, all right, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
I do have kind of a penis head.
Yeah. But definitely better than the jokes about you bringing people. That's not a joke.
Yeah,
That's not a dig.
You're gonna slam me for.
Yeah.
Well, the one joke that I like DJC is like, I don't know what you do for a living that you can afford to buy 30 people tickets. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that is funny.
But I started off with, they invited me because someone's got to put some asses in seats and see these guys. Or they'd be telling jokes to an empty room again.
Yeah, that is funny.
It was good.
But yeah. So as far as the next show, you were talking about doing all new comedy, all new
We'll see if I can get it done in time.
jokes.
It's like one thing, and if you get it written in time, it's another to get it prepared and memorized and ready to go.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I did differently for the first time ever at the roast was I went up with a note card.
Yeah,
And just
I
had-
noticed that.
it had
I didn't
it-
want to bring that up.
I had to. Like I wrote the jokes on the plane the night before.
Luckily, you were. Everyone else did too.
Well, everyone,
right?
if you watch a roast,
and you were
everyone
still,
does.
You were still better at it than most.
Yeah, but if you watch the regular roast on Comedy Central, everyone's going up there with stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I had written
Because
it,
none of them write their own shit.
right. And I went up there. I mean, I wrote a lot of those jokes on the flight back from Charlotte the night before. I didn't have time to learn anything. I tried. And then I said, no, I'm going to go up there with a security blanket. And I just wrote the first sentence to every paragraph.
Yeah.
And then it would trick me into it.
When you did it right.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, what you did was better than you getting up there and not fucking knowing your joke
Yeah,
or
so
whatever.
I couldn't do that.
I
couldn't do that.
Yeah, you're right. In a situation like that, you are standing at a podium.
That's
as well.
the other thing. The podium makes it work.
Yeah. I still, the number of people who did it the one night at the comedy where they're reading them and so, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, right.
Like it's.
And it's just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe if you've never done it before, it's probably
They all
hard.
had.
No
one was there. It wasn't anyone's first time.
That's true.
I mean, you don't see that shit at an open mic.
Well, right.
And if you do, you're disgusted.
If
like
it's
me.
right. If it's just 5 minutes, it's one thing. But like I went and saw if it's a comedian who's doing a full set working on new material, I get it.
Right.
I saw Tom Segura here at Stand Up Live, and he had a notebook with him working all new shit.
That's what you said.
So I mean, they do that because they're working their way through the
Yeah.
material. So whatever. But for the roast, the jokes were too new. I needed a cue card.
Yeah. No, again, the roast is different as well because also again you had a podium,
Yeah.
right?
Which is nice.
I don't think I could do it. I couldn't do it at a stand up.
Yeah.
Right?
Put the phone on the stool and
no.
do all that
I mean,
shit. It takes away from
I'll
the
leave
engagement.
the stage.
Well, if you're sitting there,
I can't remember. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, well, fuck.
I guess I'm
All right,
done.
Here we go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been fun, guys.
It takes something away from the connection to the crowd if you're like, you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like once you get dialed in, you got to kind of
Well, and
stay in it.
There's a certain amount I feel like that seems like it should sound like it's off the cuff,
yeah.
not like a written. It's just not as funny if it's written down. I mean, I know it all is because I do it, right? But
Yep.
like it's just not as good.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge myself one of these days. I'm going to go with no prepared material and do 5 minutes of crowd work
There you go.
just to do it.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, sounds terrifying, but I'm going to do it at some point.
You could do it though. You're witty guy, you know.
I think you got to have an idea of.
I could go and throw a couple softballs at you.
Yeah. You can have plans. I always wonder about that. Like some of these guys that are so good at crowd work, is that all staged? Do they know somebody who's in there saying something, pretending to heckle them so that they can fucking murder them? Because sometimes it seems too perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's set up too well, like a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and then other times people are really pissed, and it's like,
Yeah.
nope.
He's really mad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Or the audience member is really mad.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've
You
seen
know,
both.
really offended about something stupid or
100%.
whatever.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, I'm lucky. That's the nice thing. You know, that's what one of the things Tony was saying to us at the roast. He's like, you know, what you don't realize doing these open mics is how friendly of a crowd you get.
Yeah.
Just in Phoenix, let alone the open mic thing. But in Phoenix, compared to like New York or Chicago or LA, he's like, dude, if you're not funny, they will fucking kill you. And in Phoenix, people just kind of sit there and be like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like no one does anything.
Yeah.
You know? But he said that's these same sets would get fucking destroyed in LA, which makes sense, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You know, I'm of the belief that like a lot of these guys, old dogs and stuff in any industry will, you know, oh, well, when I started it, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah. Right?
yeah.
It was
Uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways.
Walked on broken
that's
glass.
sort of bullshit too. So, you know, I think there's probably some truth to that.
Yeah.
That assumption that's part of where that's coming from as well.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
who knows? I could be wrong.
I'm sure it's tougher in LA
Yeah.
than it is here. The talent's just way
Right.
the fuck up there. you
Right.
know?
So I watched an interesting podcast. It was with what's that guy's name? The Asian guy that hangs out. He's on the cabin with Bert,
Yeah.
the Asian dude.
Little dude?
What's his name? Yeah, something Lee.
Yeah, it is Lee. I love that cat.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's
I'm
funny
I'm
as
trying to
shit.
think of his name. It's
Yeah.
not Tony Lee. It's
No, but he does. He's on the Andrew Santini. What's that guy's name? Andrew Santini, the redheaded, bearded
yeah,
guy. Is that the
yeah.
podcast you're talking about?
No, it was his podcast, I believe.
okay.
Either way, so they had Carlos Mencia on,
Oh.
and that guy, okay, made no jokes, was just grilling him about the
Rogan thing.
the Rogan
Stealing
thing,
his jokes.
and it's been 14 years, and it was interesting. Carlos Mencia would not apologize for stealing jokes, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like, what come on, what do you know?
Rogan's
Get
actually,
over it.
Rogan's actually been cool enough to even admit that he went a little too hard at him for doing it.
He did go hard at him.
Yeah.
There's no doubt
He
about that.
did.
No doubt. I mean, it looked like he was ready to fight him.
And you don't want to fight Joe.
No, especially some fat fuck like
Joe
Carlos
is
Mencia.
1000%. Joe is the toughest comedian on planet Earth. On planet Earth, dude.
I don't know. Brendan Schwab tries to do comedy,
And he's huge.
and he's way bigger than Joe.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, so just based on size and fighting experience,
I guess if you're going to consider,
Joe's got the
consider
fighting
Shab a
experience.
comedian.
Yeah, well, he does stand up.
I
though,
guess it
bro.
counts, yeah.
But he does that because he's famous from, being in the UFC,
UFC.
and on the
And
Ultimate
Joe's buddy,
Fighter
yeah.
and Joe's buddy. Yeah, Joe definitely has helped prop him up.
Huge.
You know,
That's why I think if you got on the Kill Tony thing and did well, like, I mean, they get
Oh,
you on
yeah.
a podcast,
Yeah.
they pump some tickets, like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like you got to be.
well, yeah. You saw that one girl that I sent you, the little
Yeah.
podcast clip of Bobby Atoff or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the fuck her name is. But I mean, she grew her shit by just like continuously stepping up on like who she had on her podcast, and she played that fucking character.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of her actual podcasts with? So she just basically sits there and like doesn't smile and asks super awkward, weird questions to the guest. And, she'll have someone say, so how much money do you make?
That's all. How much do you weigh?
And they're like, what?
How old are you?
Well, I make enough. How much do you make? I don't know, but it's probably less than you.
And then she just looks at him.
Yeah. So my checking account's overdrawn. How about yours? Right? Just like
Weird shit.
Yeah. And
I feel like you could do that.
But she's had like Mark. Yeah, I probably could actually. But yeah, she's got that now.
Yeah.
On lockdown. But like Mark Cuban was on.
Oh, shit.
She had Drake on. She's had like big names. And
that'll
that's,
do a lot for the podcast.
Yeah. So originally, how she did it was she put out a TikTok where she said, all right, anyone who will tag a comedian that has a big following, and if they come on my podcast, I'll pay you $300. So people started tagging fucking anyone, and someone did it, someone who I've never heard of, right? But either way, tagged that guy. That guy went on, and so she paid, and then she did it again.
That's kind of a smart way to do
it. Helped her build, right? Well, that's why I sent it to you. I was like,
that's
actually,
clever.
this is pretty cool. She was on the Today Show. She was on Barstool.
Nice.
Yeah, Today Show and Barstool, she was out of character. But yeah, she talks about it. She goes, yeah, it's
Barstool's
it's supposed to be
too.
funny. It's called the Really Good Podcast.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was funny because again, it's a comedy character.
Yeah, I like
Right?
it. Well, we've got 7 episodes in now. I think we're about due for a guest. I know we'll get Tony on in a couple of weeks. That'll be good.
Yeah, I wanted to get Gary in here.
Get
Gary
Gary,
Parker. I mean, doesn't have the big following or anything, but
Yep.
and I'm not sure how engaged Tony's following is, but we'll see.
Yeah. No, I think it's good.
But yeah, we'll get some other people in here, right?
I like it.
Kat, you want to be on sometime?
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, Kat would be a good.
She's going like this.
My wife would be a good guest for the show.
I could ask you some really awkward questions, and
I can ask her some real awkward questions too. We'll just put her on the spot and see if we can make her blush.
Yeah. But yeah, and then and I think some of the other people that we meet and stuff from the comedy stuff, right? Like, I mean,
I think that's what we do.
Initially, just if someone's funny, it's good enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Come up with some fresh shit.
Yeah.
Jimmy and I just keep talking about football season.
Yeah, but nothing wrong with that either.
No, I love it, actually. It's good. Yeah, we'll get a guest on here next time.
Yeah. Yeah, it does change the setup a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know, though. Maybe we'll do it out there. I showed you I got some finished product to show you.
That's actually
of the other setup.
I think that's a great idea. I think regardless of whether we do a guest next week or not, we should do it in one of those other sets.
Yeah. It takes me a little longer to get that set up. This one's like,
yeah, all right, I get that.
The other one, a lot of setup and tear down.
Yeah, I
but it did. I'll show it to you. It did look pretty fucking
cool.
Tits. My guys didn't edit it the way that I wanted them to, but we can get that fixed.
All right.
So
yeah, we'll do the next set next time.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. So until next time, till number 8.
Till number 8. Thanks, bro.
Yep.